Hola, buenas noches. ¿Qué tal, amigos?
Reagan relied on this troika of advisors. Jim Baker is his chief of staff, a really skilled, shrewd political insider. Ed Meese, who's a counselor to the president, and then Michael Beaver. He is in charge of the media operations. This troika ran the White House.
The assassination attempt and the aftermath elevated Ronald Reagan's popularity to a new high. The latest NBC News Associated Press poll shows that his job rating jumped 10 points.
Reagan understood that he was getting this sort of sympathy reaction. Everybody was rooting for him all of a sudden because they didn't want him to die, they didn't want him to lose our president. And so, without missing a step, he goes right into what the message is. We've got to get this tax and spending bill passed, and we've got to do it now.
Mr. Speaker, the President of the United States.
It was just like the movies. Reagan was a true American hero.
The president looking very jovial, very healthy.
I was seated in the well of the House there when he was addressing the Congress. It was magic. Everybody was so grateful that his life had been spared. It was a stirring moment.
If he wants them to stop, they're not going to stop for a while. They handed President Reagan and the Republicans a major victory. For the second time in his drive to cut the federal budget, President Reagan got what he wanted from a House controlled by the opposition party.
Reagan comes
He wants them to stop, they're not going to.
and the recovery from the assassination attempt looking very strong, very bold, like a very determined leader.
Good evening. The strike began as scheduled at 7 o'clock local time this morning. Its impact was immediate. Most flights delayed, many more canceled.
The air traffic controllers had worked terrible hours. They were underpaid. They wanted a big raise. They didn't get what they wanted. They said, we're going to go out on strike.
They were the only union in the country that endorsed Ronald Reagan. But by law, they were forbidden to strike.
They are in violation of the law. And if they do not report for work within 48 hours, they have forfeited their jobs and will be terminated. End of statement.
But what? He actually did that? And it's kind of like hitting the mule on the head with a 2x4. That got people's attention.
This afternoon, President Reagan started firing the strikers, and the government claimed it was ready to rebuild the whole system without them.
This sent a really powerful message to different parts of the electorate. Many unions were terrified when they saw this. It also just sent a bigger message about the kind of leader he would be. He was not scared to do what was controversial.
If ever a presidential policy reflected the president's own character, it is Reaganomics. In fact, it's so personal that it barely qualifies as an economic theory. But the trouble is, Reaganomics is not working.
It's been the single overwhelming failure of the Reagan administration. More than 12 million Americans out of work, the highest rate of unemployment since the Great Depression of the 1930s. The tax cut did not give the economy the supply-side kick that had been promised. Business got steadily worse. Factories closed, layoffs, bankruptcies. The federal deficit skyrocketed.
Inflation had been brought under control and quickly, a remarkable accomplishment, but at a terrible cost.
Reagan was really trying hard to kill inflation as fast as he could, and that was working, but the problem was interest rates were going up to 18%. It's like chemotherapy for the economy. It kills a lot of other things along the way.
The government can live with high unemployment to curb inflation. That seems to be a very high price for us to have to pay.
It's supposed to be the land of opportunity. It's not anymore. It's for the land for the rich, and the poor can go to hell.
I think that we're going to have some hard times for the next few months. While we had predicted, as you well know, a stagnant economy, none of us had predicted the stepping over into recession.
When David Stockman came in and said, the deficit's not going down, the deficit's simply getting larger, Reagan apparently was shocked. Perhaps he had been too beguiled by his own supply-side rhetoric.
Reaganomics, as it's called, was not generating enough revenue. The theory that if you tax the rich, everybody will be better off because they'll invest that money turned out not to be true.
These are not especially happy days for Budget Director David Stockman. The December issue of the Atlantic Monthly has a long article about Stockman, in which he is quoted as saying some things he no doubt wishes he had not said.
I got the magazine, and it was an early
Are you
topic.
gonna
word or not?
Yeah,
I
but
gave a news conference.
mira, yo lo que hacía nada. Yes, por si te dije que sí, ¿qué quiere que te diga? No.
He had no idea what I was talking about, clearly. So I wrote the story that night. That the budget director blew the whistle on this plan.
In what he still contends were off-the-record conversations, Stockman expressed disillusion with the Reagan supply-side economic theory. Stockman refers to naive supply-siders. The whole thing, meaning the Reagan plan, is premised on faith, said Stockman. None of us understands what's going on with all these numbers.
It was very, very damaging. A lot of people wanted him fired, but I thought we had to keep him because he knew more about the budget than anybody. So I prevailed upon the president to not fire him.
We have faith in our program and we're sticking with it. To the paid political complainers, let me say as politely as I can, put up or shut up.
President Reagan's standing in the NBC AP poll has gone from a high of 65% approval after he was shot to a low of 43% last fall. That's a bit lower than any previous president at that stage of his stay in the White House.
We lost big in the 1982 midterms, and everybody was blaming the bad economy on our tax cuts and spending reduction.
I remember thinking, okay, the bubbles burst. And when a president sinks like that, and I had just seen it with Jimmy Carter, you just don't come back. And I did believe that. He's not going to come back.
Clear for takeoff.
See ya!
When you're living with diabetes, steady is exciting.
Oh, this is living, baby.
Only Glucerna has Carb Steady to help minimize blood sugar spikes. And try new Glucerna Hunger Smart to help you feel full.
Is it a force of nature or a sales event? The Silver Valley sales event is here. Get up to a $5,000 bonus on select Audi models.
You have a vision. It's behind everything you do. Even when you least expect it, it comes through. You know what you want, and we can help make it real. You need choices? We've got all kinds, including special finishes and papers. And they're all absolutely guaranteed. Because you have a vision, and we have your car. 500 start at just $9.99 when you enter BC500 at Vistafred.com.
Who says your desk phone always has to be at your desk? Now with One Talk from Verizon.
Hi, Pete. I'm glad you called.
All your phones can work together on one number. You can move calls between phones, so conversations go where you go.
Take your time. I'm not going anywhere.
That's wonderful.
And when you're not available, One Talk helps find the right person who is.
Hi, John.
So wherever work takes you, you can put your customers first. Introducing One Talk, another way Verizon connects your business better. Learn how at onetalk.com.
If you've gone to extremes to escape your nasal allergies, try Clarispray, new from the makers of Claritin. And nothing is more effective at relieving your sneezing, runny nose, and nasal congestion. Return to the world. Try Clarispray today.
Closed captioning brought to you by InventHelp. Call 1-888-909-4332.
People ask me all the time, George, what do I do with my idea for a new product? I tell them, call my friends at InventHelp.
Call for free information. Donald Trump has a passion for business and the spotlight.
He always said to us, find what it is that you're passionate about and pursue it with your full heart.
His story from the people who know him best. All Business, The Essential Donald Trump, Labor Day at 10.
Last year, I switched to DirecTV, and I was so excited to meet my bill. But then my bill got ugly. Fast. Now it's a year later, and my bill is huge.
Are you talking about me or your DirecTV bill?
Does it make a difference?
Sticking with Dish can save you over $180 a year versus DirecTV.
Don't get stuck with an ugly bill.
Donald Hunter, spokesperson. This is an important message for anyone who took the prescription drug Xarelto or Pradaxa and had a serious bleeding event. If you or a loved one took Xarelto or Pradaxa and suffered from a serious bleeding event, call the Pradaxa helpline. Call 1-800-260-7021. Xarelto and Pradaxa have been linked to serious internal bleeding, stroke, and death. You may be entitled to compensation. Call the Pradaxa helpline for a free consultation. Call 1-800-260-7021.
The Hunt with John Walsh, an all-new episode tomorrow night at 9 on CNN.
At least 76 United States Marines were killed this morning in Lebanon, and at least 115 were wounded. Those numbers may rise considerably higher.
I was sound asleep, and this bomb went off. You could feel it shake across Beirut. It was so massive. It was devastating.
A truck filled with explosives was driven into a compound amidst of a Marine Battalion headquarters, and the explosives were detonated. The four-story building collapsed on about 150 or 200 sleeping Marines.
Man was wearing green fatigues, driving a yellow truck. This is his Maryland white. He says he always remembered it. The guy was smiling.
Israel had gone into Lebanon to try to create a buffer zone against the Palestinians, the PLO.
A battalion of American Marines came out to separate the Israelis from the Palestinians and oversee the withdrawal of the PLO from Lebanon. But it got sucked in to the Lebanese Civil War.
The Civil War is between Christians and Muslims, and to the Muslims it looked like we were supporting Christians.
A big debate broke out afterwards. Should we have ever put our Marines in that kind of a vulnerable position when they didn't have clear mission? They were just sort of sitting there.
The United States in the Middle East was suddenly faced with an array of small forces, little cells, underground, not knowing who they were, where they were, and even what they wanted.
There are no words to properly express our outrage.
Small forces, little cells, underground, not knowing who they were, where they were.
Have any idea who did it?
Are you going to take reprisals, sir?
We're called the killing of the
Small forces, little cells, underground, not knowing who they were, where they were.
That's me over there, right? Wait.
restore
That's
order
feedback
and
by the mom.
democracy on the island of Grenada.
An American troop carrier was passing by on its way to Lebanon. So all they did was turn that combat-ready ship into Grenada.
Marines took control of Grenada's airports and began broadcasting.
I'm live, baby. I know I'm live. I'm sorry.
Local operation moves forward.
No, baby, it's not like that.
At least at a psychological, maybe even at a moral level. Reagan was doing something in Grenada that he wanted to do in Lebanon, but couldn't. He could do it in Grenada. He could show the world that the United States would take action to defend its interests.
Reagan was lucky. He had the good fortune to have an easy military victory, just eliminating our memory of what had happened in Beirut and replacing it with this scene.
No lo quiere poner en el screen porque parece que es copyrighted.
The world
That's crazy, right? How they do
Today,
that?
our national security can
No lo
be
quiere poner en el
threatened in
screen.
faraway places. It's up to all of us
Yeah.
to be aware of the strategic importance of such places and to be able to identify. The events in Lebanon and Grenada, though oceans apart, are closely related. Not only has Moscow assisted and encouraged the violence in both countries, but it provides direct support through a network of surrogates and terrorists.
What he really cared about was this cancer on the world. So if there was a Marxist regime anywhere and somebody was trying to take it down, he'd be for them.
Perhaps by coincidence, the U.S. greatly expanded its military presence in Central America. A big battleship joined 2 aircraft carriers in the waters off Nicaragua, while denying all the while anything special was happening.
In Nicaragua, where there was a leftist regime in place, the United States was supporting the Nicaraguan Contras in their effort to overturn the Sandinista government.
That was an evil bunch, the Sandinistas, and he was going to overthrow them, and the heroes were the Contras who were going to do the job, just like our founding fathers did it at Lexington and Concord.
We are complying with the law, the Poland amendment, which is the law. We're complying with that fully.
The Boland Amendment, passed unanimously in the House last December, says specifically the United States cannot provide funds for the purpose of overthrowing the government of Nicaragua.
When Congress tried to cut American funding off of the Contras, Reagan believed that it was his obligation, a moral obligation, as well as an obligation to American security, to make sure that the Contras continued to get funding.
The last of the U.S. Marines left Beirut today for the relative safety of the 6th Fleet warships offshore, ending a 17-month peacekeeping mission which brought Lebanon no closer to resolving its internal strife.
After a series of bombings against U.S. targets, Lebanese factions realized that their impact was very short-lived, and so these groups in Lebanon began nabbing Americans on
In
bombing
Beirut today,
against
the United
U.S.
States was again the target of Lebanon's shadow with guns. They kidnapped American diplomat William Buckley. Buckley is the embassy's contact man for the rival Christian and Muslim factions. He is the 3rd American to be kidnapped in Beirut in 6 weeks.
And it kept happening. It was not all at one go. They were taken many months apart, but it kept adding up and adding up and adding up. It consumed the Reagan presidency.
Every day, almost every day, he would ask his national security team, his intelligence briefers, is there any news on the hostages? Is anything happening? Is there something we can do?
There's a chink in Reagan's armor, and that he was soft-hearted, and he did feel a sense of obligation, that he had to do something to get him out.
Heartburn comes creeping up on you. Fight back with relief so smooth and fast. Tums Smoothie starts dissolving the instant it touches your tongue and neutralizes stomach acid at the source. Smoothies, only from Tums.
Decision 2016 is a win-win at Golden Corral. Get 2 classic dinner buffets for just $22. Then make the weekend spectacular with endless prime rib and premium favorites just $13.99. We are Jeff Foxworthy and we approve this message.
Hey, it's been crazy with school being back, so we are constantly going over our data limit.
Oh, well, now all our new plans come with no data overages.
Wow, no more overages?
So that means go on sale. We'll finally be in control. And we're back.
Introducing new AT&T plans with no data overage charges.
Having acne was always on my mind.
So I asked a dermatologist about Axone Dapsone Gel 7.5%. I apply it once a day, anytime.
Axone Gel 7.5% is FDA approved for the topical treatment of acne for people 12 years and older. Axone Gel is a once-a-day acne treatment with clinically proven results. In clinical trials, acne got better for people using Axone Gel in just 12 weeks. Axone Gel may cause the serious side effect of hemoglobinemia, which decreases oxygen in your blood. Stop taking Axone Gel and get medical help right away if your lips, mouth, or nails turn gray or blue. Talk to your doctor if you have G6PD deficiency. Using benzoyl peroxide with Axone Gel may cause skin or facial hair to temporarily turn yellow or orange where applied. Common side effects of Axone Gel include dryness and itching of treated skin.
Now I have less acne to think about because I use Axone Gel.
You can pay as little as $15 for Axone Gel. Learn more at Axone.com. Axone, prescription treatment, proven results.
I accept your nomination for President of the United States.
From one night in November, just like that, it's over.
All of a sudden, that's it. You're a joke. I don't have any comment today.
Join CNN for the political story you haven't heard about the most spectacular public failure in American life. What is it like to climb so high?
It's a real thrill.
And to fall so far.
To be blunt about it, losing sucks.
Almost President, Wednesday night at 9. Celebrate your freedom of choice for our 45th president, Hillary Clinton or Donald Trump. Show pride and support with a well-known American icon.
Chia.
With Chia Hillary Clinton and Chia Donald Trump. Just water and watch them both grow. Own the special limited edition. Also, Chia Sanders and Chia Obama. Order now at chia.com or Amazon. Buy the entire presidential collection. A great collectible gift. However, spokesperson, this is an important message for anyone who took the prescription drug Xarelto or Pradaxa and had a serious bleeding event. If you or a loved one took Xarelto or Pradaxa and suffered from a serious bleeding event, call the Pradaxa helpline. Call 1-800-260-7021. Xarelto and Pradaxa have been linked to serious internal bleeding, stroke, and death. You may be entitled to compensation. Call the Pradaxa helpline for a free consultation. Call 1-800-260-7021. Declassified. Tomorrow night at 10 on CNN.
Government economists have taken another look at how fast the economy grew during the first quarter of this year, and today they said it was surging ahead even faster than they first thought. The jobless rate was down.
We were correcting what had gone wrong before.
The economy starts to bounce back in 1983. Gas prices are falling. The stock market is rising.
You start seeing inflation go down, employment go up. So by 1984, they have an economic revival to pitch.
It's morning again in America. And under the leadership of President Reagan, our country is prouder and stronger and better.
It was a brilliant ad, and it worked. There was no chance a Democrat was going to beat that.
A U.S. political summit meeting takes place in Louisville, Kentucky, not to resolve differences, but to exploit them. Ronald Reagan meets Walter Mondale. Just about everybody is calling it a major opportunity for Mondale.
Yeah, he doesn't need just to win by a nose. He needs to win, to stay with the track metaphor, by 5 or 6 or 7 lengths. He needs to do very well because he starts from so far back.
The question of Ronald Reagan's age had always been in the back of minds of a lot of people. He was, by this time, the oldest American president, and he was well into his 70s.
As I say, I feel that we have a problem here to resolve.
When Reagan, in the first debate against Walter Mondale, looks confused, speaks too long, gets lost, it's not just that Walter Mondale won that debate. It's that people fear, is Ronald Reagan lost? And for the first time, they start talking about the age issue.
It showed without cue cards and teleprompters, the great communicator doesn't always communicate all that well.
We had 6 dress rehearsals last time, plus loading him with computered statistics. The man was absolutely smothered by extraneous material. And this time we're going to let Ronald Reagan be Ronald Reagan.
The mantra, let Reagan be Reagan, was let's take advantage of what we got. The strongest thing we have, our best political asset, is Ronald Reagan being himself, communicating with the American people. When he was showing his personality, his ideas, and his rhetoric, he generally succeeded.
Going into tonight's debate, a new ABC News poll indicates the race continues to narrow.
I think that the audience out there tonight will be looking at Ronald Reagan in a new way. I think in Louisville, the myth or the mystique of the great communicator was dented, perhaps irreparably.
President Kennedy had to go for days on end with very little sleep during the Cuba Missile Crisis. Is there any doubt in your mind that you would be able to function in such circumstances?
Not at all, Mr. Truitt, and I want you to know that also I will not make age an issue of this campaign. I am not going to exploit for political purposes my opponent's youth and inexperience.
Brought down the house, and it was his house by then.
There were several times during his first term when I thought, this man is not going to be reelected.